I have a series of paintings that I'm working on, paintings right across the country. And seeing that we're in Ontario, I've sort of focused here in Ontario, but also here on Niagara-on-the-Lake. So I have 3 paintings from right in this region.
The exhibition, titled The Grand Scheme Ontario, is inspired by Ross's love of nature and the outdoors.
As an artist, I guess it all starts with your own interests in that. I've always loved the outdoors and going camping, on backpacking trips, mountaineering, things like that over my time. So I always had a camera and sketchbook along, and so my inspiration came from responding to, especially early on, wilderness places. I wouldn't call Niagara Falls exactly wilderness, but the idea that we as Europeans have only been here for a few hundred years, and the First Nations people that were here, there weren't all the towers and everything around places. So in a way, it's still a wilderness, and if you look over to that area. So my inspiration has always been the outdoors and the trips and everything, and I love the Group of 7 and realist photographers, so I just put that all together and came up with something.
Ross, who was born in Hamilton, has been painting since 1975.
Originally, I always loved art as a kid growing up. I just kept at artwork. I originally wanted to be an architect. I always thought I wanted to be an architect until I actually was studying it at school, and I realized it was more of a business than a fine art. And so I quit to decide what to do and had a show in a gallery. It did really well, and I had another show at a gallery, and so I guess at some point I have to figure out what I want to do with the rest of my life.
Ross invites the viewer to experience the scenery so that they can have a feeling of involvement.
The important thing is to look at a painting, imagine a viewer to be there. I always hope a viewer can imagine themselves there. And what would they think if they first got there? What would they do if they were there for 5 minutes or 10 minutes? And some of these paintings are nighttime paintings with the Northern Lights, for instance. And imagine sitting watching the Northern Lights and sitting there and where your mind would go after that period of time. So that's sort of, in this show, it's got specific locales, but it also, every painting is almost that theme too that goes. So I want to have a positive look on the environment, rather than showing all the horrible things that are happening, the pollution and the destruction of our waters and the airs and that. I want it to be positive, and that if you say, like the scenery, let's do as much as we can to protect it. That's sort of my overwhelming theme in anything. So I hope people come in and they see the positive things about, I have some lightning bolt paintings. Well, we just had big storms in the East Coast. Storms are a beautiful thing on one hand. They're scary, but we can always come through at the other side if we're well prepared for it.